Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I want to welcome you to tonight's edition of Yes You with Friends. And I am so glad that you are here with us on this fine day. And I want to welcome you. This is Sunday and the last Sunday of June, I believe it is. And Johnny, can you believe that the Sunday is over?
I cannot. It feels like it's barely past Christmas to me. Seriously.
Oh my God. It's like we just blinked and then here you go, half the month is gone.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely unbelievable. Mino 3782. If I was doing Yes You O cubed, I'd say you are the winner of Grandpa Holmes's chair. So I want to welcome you and everybody else that's out there that may not be in my chat on today. I thank you for tuning in and I appreciate you so much for stopping by. Now on today, as you know how we get it started, I always like to talk to my friends and let them give us an update of what's going on with them. So Jonna, that is you. You are the person. You are the friend of Yes You and Friends on today. Tell us what's going on with you, sis.
Well, this week has been relatively quiet. It's been a busy June was crazy. So I welcome the quiet for this week. It's been pretty routine. Everybody's enjoying the summer. And we're getting back to our norm around here. So it's been pretty quiet. Was it this week that was hot as HE double hockey sticks or that was last week?
Last week it was hot.
Yes.
It was hot with all the T's.
It was on burn last week. Yeah, this week was a little bit better. A little bit better.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like somebody died and went to hell.
Hell, honey. If it's any hotter than this, I can't pull. I got to get my life right.
It was hell degrees. I'm trying to tell you, it'll make you get saved. Won't it do it?
Yes, it will.
Oh shoot. So with the heat and what all, how have you and the cheerings been able to accommodate all of that?
Well, my girls are little divas. I don't know where they got that from, but they don't know.
Right.
They don't necessarily appreciate the heat, but we still been making a point to get out. We just have to bear with it because we've been indoors for so long.
Yes.
So we still have to make a point and get out. And I'm telling you, it is a chorus of 4 voices, mine included, complaining about that heat. But
bless your heart. You say, honey, the saints are allergic to heat. Now, I'm going to tell off on your age a little bit because I seem to remember back in your younger years, all the way up to snow and ice in the dead of winter on the ground. And somebody that I know who will remain nameless, who's the only other person on this screen, was still going without a coat and sometimes some house shoes that had the feet and the toes out. I mean, correct. Do you recall?
I do. I recall all of that, but I don't know what happened because I can't pull none of that now. I can't do hot and I cannot do cold either.
Those days are over.
Yes, those days are long gone. I got a coat. I showed you. Didn't I see a picture of me with a big fur hood stuff on? Yeah, I can't pull it.
Oh my God. I remember you would be in short sleeves and tiptoeing across the ice in some house shoes with nothing on. And I'm just like, I'm shivering and getting icicles just looking at you.
My flip-flops back in the day, of course.
Your flip-flops. Oh my God.
Now I can't do it. I got the motherboard wraps, the scarves, gloves, all of it.
Shoot, that seems like yesterday, but in all honesty, Johnny, that's probably been almost a good 20 years, hasn't it?
It has been 20 years.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
That's how fast and how time flies when you're having fun. Yeah. We had a lot of fun. We did have a lot of fun.
We did.
Yes. But we had some challenges along the way, but that's okay because, honey, we built for this.
We are built for it.
Yes, ma'am. Now, today's topic, and you're the perfect person to have this conversation with. Today's topic, I was just really impressed with Allison Felix. And I don't know if you've seen the story. Let me see if I'm gonna try to see if I can figure out how to navigate. I'm in a different environment slightly on today, but I'm gonna try to, if I can, share this picture with you. But Allison, at the end of the day, to really kind of highlight her story, if anybody out there listening is not familiar with it, Allison was the one who actually, and I'm gonna come on down. I see that we have the pic there. Oh man, okay. Oh, I gotta be over here. I'm trying to move it down, and I'm on the wrong screen, Cheerings. But Allison, as you see, is building an empire of her own and making Nike execs eat their words. So the story goes like this, and there's a whole lot more to it than meets the eye. But I feel like this is a season and a time. Let me see what this ad is going to run. I really, there's a little bit of her there where you can see her with her baby. And I just think it's a beautiful thing. Okay, so it went right on. They're going to talk about her a little bit there. And let me go ahead and play this video. And it's just a few minutes long, but let's listen to it.
Around the corner. It's still happening, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, it's happening. You're still going, right?
Yeah, I still am.
That's the plan. All right, we got a little nostalgic here, and our contributor Alicia Corral's got a little one-on-one time with an Olympic gold medalist.
Well, that's right. The Summer Olympics are just weeks away, so I thought this might be my chance to hang with someone who has already made their mark at the iconic games. Thanks to our sponsor, Pantene, I got to chat with mom, activist, and six-time Olympic track and field gold medalist, Allison Felix. Take a look. Allison, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm sure you get asked all the time what it's like to be an Olympic athlete, but what I want to know is what an Olympic athlete does during their time off.
I love to relax. You know, I spend so much time working so hard that I just want to sit back, spend time with my family, and I really just enjoy being at home. I'm a homebody.
Well, we know you as the only female track and field athlete to ever win 6 Olympic gold medals, which is amazing. But a job you work just as hard to prepare for is becoming a mom. Tell me about that.
Becoming a mom has been so incredible. It was a little scary starting out. I gave birth prematurely at 32 weeks and saw my daughter fight in the NICU, but just watching her grow has changed my life. It's changed my motivation. And now as I train for this Olympics, I am so proud to partner with Pantene to really reflect that legacy. And, you know, it's so much bigger than on the track. You know, it's me as a mother and me as an advocate for women. And I'm just really grateful that they are really reflecting that.
Well, speaking of legacy, you've already left your legacy for the world, one that I know you're going to continue. What legacy do you want to continue and keep for your daughter?
I really want to, you know, just impart that strength on her, that confidence to overcome adversity and really to stand up for what's right. That's what I hope that she takes away. And I really recognize that it's really about the little things and kind of just the moments that I spend with her. And in our life, that looks like, you know, me taking care of Cammie's curls. And that was really a special time for me and my mom, you know, as I was growing up, as she did my hair each morning. And it's just something that's very close to my heart. And so it really makes this partnership with Pantene even more special as they celebrate that legacy that is so important to my family. And now I get to pass that down to Cammie in the time that we spend together.
And Allison, I understand you have a sneak peek for us?
Yes, I'm so excited about this film that I've been working on with Pantene to celebrate my legacy. And I have a sneak peek of What's Your Legacy?
My legacy's not just what I did.
Allison Felix hit her goal!
But why I did it. I did it for you.
Okay, Allison, we cannot wait to tune into What's Your Legacy, and we thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
And don't forget, you can find a variety of products at Walmart via Pantene. And check out ABC3's Instagram page for What's Your Legacy film. Amy, TJ, you guys have to check it out because you're going to be incredibly inspired.
Oh, she is so inspiring. Did you know that your
I'm
toughest
going to
cleaning
stop
problems can be
right
caused
there,
by heart?
Donna, and let me get out of that screen so I can kind of. I want to talk about, if you see the headline there, and I think I got the volume back. If you see the headline there, Allison Felix is building an empire of her own and making Nike execs eat their words. So what we had going on here was more or less in that video, her what was being sponsored with Pantene, but she has taken this thing another step further. She has gone another further, which I am absolutely positively loving, absolutely loving it. I'm trying to get out of this screen and trying to find it's a little bit different than my norm, but at the end of the day, let me just go ahead and close that off. Will that let me? No, that's not gonna let me get back to my screen. But at the end of the day, I like and love the idea that she has taken really what could have been a very negative situation and has really pumped it up to not just having Pantene. And it looks like I'm gonna be in here. Oh man, I lost my whole screen here, so I'm trying to get back to where I want to be. Let's see, I need to do a stop share, but it is not on my screen, Saints. It's not on my screen. It's not on my screen. Let me come back up and see if I can find. I cannot find it. Listen, audience viewers, my apologies while I'm clicking around here trying to find what I want. But I should be. There we go. We just talked about that, John, and how hard it was to find these daggum screens.
Oh, you lost the tab like I did.
I lost the tab. So this is the story that I really want to get into. She did not talk about the journey that she's had because there are clauses that the female athletes have that they have to sign with regard to no pregnancies. And if they do get pregnant, they run the risk of their pay being cut. So what really came out of all of this, and I loved the fact that she really highlighted the situation revolving around wanting to leave her daughter a legacy. And if you note, they called her an activist, but they really didn't get into the real depth of her activism, which really revolved around her taking on the fight that women should not be penalized. And up to that point, they were doing non-disclosure agreements where they were not allowed to talk about the fact that the female athletes had to sign these contracts that said they would not become pregnant, and if they did become pregnant, that they would actually be in jeopardy of their pay just based on the fact that they had a baby.
Wow. Well.
So that being said, in addition to, and I'm gonna go a little bit further, but let's just stop right there and deal with that little piece right there. Just in, first and foremost, as a mother, and like I said, you're the perfect person to have this conversation. When you saw her with that little girl, what did you feel?
Well, those are precious moments, precious times. I've seen a few of the headlines regarding her here lately, so I kind of have a little background of what she's doing. But it brings back, well, my kids are much older than that, but not the youngest one's not that. I mean, all the little special moments and such together. It makes my heart warm, especially if that's what she wanted. And then the 32 weeks, that's early. And things did not have to turn out well there.
Yes.
So I'm glad for her. And I hate that she had to go through such with her employer. But this is with Nike, but this is a problem that a lot of women face.
It's real.
Yeah,
It's
it is
real.
very real.
She said, and I'm reading, I'm taking this from, let me see, who is this? The New York Times is the article that I'm reading right here, because she has really taken Nike on, I mean, bull by the horns. And she decided her whole pregnancy story is an act of activism. She decided that she wanted to go ahead and have a child in spite of the clause. Now, I mean, tell me now, what do you think about this daggum maternity clause?
Well,
Woo!
you know, sometimes you can't argue with nature. I mean, if things just gonna happen sometimes. At the same time, if you agreed to that, then we need to commit to whatever you agreed to.
Now,
What
I didn't mean to cut you off there, but now, do they have clauses for men that they gonna keep their little peens in?
Well, now you are right about that. You are right about that, but oh Lord, I was getting ready to say they can spread semen all over the city and still perform.
And so, okay. Just spread semen all over the city and still perform. But okay, so am I picking up a little bit of sexist? Come on now, sis. Is that mildly sexist? I can spread speen all over the city, and who are they spreading peen and semen all over the city with? Well, in many instances. Okay.
In many instances. Okay.
In many instances.
But from what I understand, it's because they want her, in their ads, and and can we really promote athleticism? Yes. Now, I don't think that you cannot be an athlete pregnant. But, if they have a certain look that they want for their ads and such, and it doesn't include a maternity shoot.
Well, listen, also said, Alexa, Google search closets for peen. You need answers, also. You need answers. Listen, but at the end of the day, and this is the beauty of what she did do, in her ad for her new shoes, because Pantene is what she was showing for her daughter's hair and what she was doing with them and da-da-da-da-da, which I thought was great. But good evening, Tyrone. I love you.
Hello.
Good to see you. Now, you're going to really I don't know where you're going to fall on the spectrum on this conversation. But before I go there, let me stop and say congratulations.
Oh, yes.
You have made, listen, I am so godly proud, auntie proud, mama proud, and every other kind of feeling, sister proud. I'm just every kind of proud I can be about you and your new career.
Yes, I've made a change.
Yes. Now, I'm going to digress just for a hot second, because we were just getting ready to talk about peen and semen all over the city. And this isn't hairy decisions.
All right.
Tell us about what's going on with you, and then we're gonna move on, because my sister is being I'm messing with her because she's being just a tad sexist in my opinion. And Johnny, I'm playing with you. I'm
it's
playing.
all good.
Tell us about what you got going on, and then we're gonna go on, because this one's gonna listen. We already got Oso asking Google. She needs answers. He needs answers. They need answers. Oso said, I need answers. So come on. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with you, and we're gonna forge right on.
Well, it's been a pretty good week. I decided to step out on faith and start a new career with the Child Protective Services Department here in Denton County. I'm so excited about that.
Awesome.
Because, I've been with my company for almost 6 years, and, we get comfortable. But I felt like, with the year we had last year and all that I've experienced, and I'm almost 40. I'll be 40. It's like, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it?
Yes.
So I've spent enough money on degrees, and I got to get out there and put it to work. So
come on.
Starting tomorrow, I will be transitioning into the Denton County Department of Child Protective Services.
Come on. We're giving it up for Tyrone. Awesome. I love it. Make that thing happen. Now, you popped in at just the perfect timing because we're talking about Allison Felix and how she has withstood as an activist for women's rights. She had her baby, and against the contract, and I heard you say that, Jonna, if she signed a contract, but she didn't have any choice. So, I mean, when you say if you sign a contract, you know that you put your John Hancock on the contract, but that's the only way she could operate. She doesn't have any other options.
What do you mean she doesn't have any other options?
Okay, if you're going to be in the field, if you're going to be in the arena, and obviously as many medals as she's racked up, she's going to have endorsements coming her way. People are going to be beating down her door for endorsements. I still say, for her, the only way to get those endorsements was to sign those contracts that had those non-disclosure agreements in it, that had pregnancy clauses in it. So was she just supposed to say, no, I'm not going to take any endorsements and I'm not going to make any money. I'm going to be out here and be one of the fastest women running on the face of this earth. But if I'm going to get these endorsements, I got to sign, because that's not an isolated situation with Nike. The sports attire companies all had this same pregnancy clause. So do we just say that this pregnancy clause is okay? And if you want the money, if you want to be have endorsements and whatever, make up your mind which way you're. This woman is one of the fastest women on the face of the earth. She can't help the fact that she's got a gina.
Well, she can't help it, but you don't have to sign with Nike.
But all
or
of them,
anybody else.
But who wouldn't sign with Nike? I mean,
now I don't know the specifics in this. I don't know if this pregnancy was planned.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was, and that's what I was getting ready to get to. In the New York Times. Ooh, I see them eyes. In the New York Times, she said, I decided that I wanted to start a family in 2018, knowing that the pregnancy clause, as they call it in the industry, is the kiss of death. Now, why should women have to have the kiss of death? And this, because it's not isolated. This is the industry. We're not talking about a one-off. This clause was standard. Now, I do want to interject right here at this point. Her stance, so it's a pregnancy clause that basically stated that if they got pregnant, they could anticipate either loss of contracts or significant pay in contracts due to the pregnancy. So these were the clauses that were in women's contracts. Now, I do want to say, because this is a lion's move, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it to the table. I feel like she did a lion's move, because after she brought it to their attention and she said, as long as it was quiet and as long as you had these non-disclosure agreements out there and they were able to do all this hush hush under the table, nothing for women would ever change. And she said, normally I am the person that I want to make sure everybody's happy. As far as those that I'm working for, I want to make sure that I represent to the fullest the way y'all want me to represent. That was paramount, top of the mind, top of the line. But at the end of the day, this is wrong. And I determined if I go along with it and I don't say anything, it will never change. And I will say, after she made the noise abroad, Nike actually came, number one, they had a commission that was convened by the legislators that basically investigated, and they found out now, and I'm saying found out tongue in cheek because they knew what was going on, but they found out the allegations were true, and they changed the contracts. Nike was the first one to change, and then the other companies followed suit after that. So I'm giving her all kinds of accolades. I'm giving her all kinds of props. Because at the end of the day, it was the fact that she said something. Oh, Teresa, that clause sucks. That clause sucks. So,
but she said something after she signed a contract, and now there's an issue because she decided to have a child, and it went against the contract that she signed. So
yes, it did.
So now there's an issue?
Well, it's not anymore because when she said something.
But was it not an issue when she signed the contract?
When she signed the contract, this is my thing. When you are an up and coming, when you are an up and coming, and at the point, just like she said, I just came in here, I wanted to run.
So we'll fall for anything. We'll go for it because we're up and coming. We're okay with it when we're up and coming.
She's not falling for anything.
Now since we've come,
this is the disparity, and this is the sexism that was in the industry.
But she went along. She was okay with it when
you can't say she went along. There was nothing else. There was no other option. When you say you went along with it, how do you go along? There's nothing else offered in all the women. And this is the thing I think we have to understand about patriarchy. All the women were subjected to this same clause. They all were subjected to this same clause. She just happened to be the one to finally say, I don't care what this clause says, it's wrong and never should have been in the beginning. And as a result, she did overturn it. It did get overturned, which it rightfully should have. Somebody needed to say something. And how else are you going to change it if you don't actually challenge the system? Now, Johnny, you squirming over there. I want to hear where your thoughts are going everywhere.
I got to hear this too.
I'm on the fence, and I'm on the fence now because we can, if she knew that this clause was in the contract, we can work around the clause.
No, you couldn't. There wasn't an option.
Well, I'm not the clause itself. I mean, with the planned pregnancy. Now, I don't know how long the contract was for. I don't know the specifics of it. How long can she not have a baby?
But how are we telling men you can't spread the peen and you can't spread the semen for X amount of years until you whatever?
Well, I don't think the contract states she couldn't be active. It said do not get pregnant. Now, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm saying it was in writing.
It's her body. And see, that takes us right back to this whole issue of men that want to say no abortion when it's not their bodies. It's not their bodies. So when you have these types of laws and these types of contracts that are in place against women, I see you looking all kinds of ways, Tyrone, because patriarchy is real. So if you look at patriarchy and you can't even say, but that's what about the man? Because patriarchy, just like racism, is already in favor of one particular over the other. So all we're doing is saying equity. There needs to be a balance and equity that comes to the table. If you've got, and this is the thing, we've had crazy clauses against women that were sexist for ages. We weren't even considered women. When we finally said that folks could vote, the women still couldn't vote. And it, at the end of the day, we have to look at somebody had to go in there and challenge it, or else it would be the same for how much longer. And ultimately, it's her body. Why should she have to wait till a certain age to say, I want to have a child? Why?
She doesn't. She just can't sign with Nike.
She couldn't have signed with anybody. That's my point. That clause was going to be all the way. Oh my God, that clause was going to be all the way across the board.
But the thing is, and for me, listening to the story, yes, it's wrong. Women should be able to do what they want to do with their bodies, but then you also look at the same side of say a company can say, "This is what I'm going to pay to represent." And if she signed a contract, yes, the verbiage in the contract was wrong, but she signed that contract. Why is it now that we're coming out saying, after I signed this contract, I planned a pregnancy, I decided to have a kid, and now I'm going against the contract because apparently I'm assuming there's some repercussions coming towards her. Why, when she knew that
she filed a suit and won?
But when she knew when these industries were saying you can't, that's this clause in this contract, why wasn't this dealt with long time ago?
So you all feel like as long as the contract says whatever, as wrong as it is, either you say yes or you y'all losing me right there. How are you going to change the contract if you just go along with the status quo? Because you'll never get fairness and you'll never get equity if everybody just goes along with the status quo. Somebody has to challenge the contract because on its face it's biased and unfair against women.
But we've seen so many people challenge the status quo in the contract without signing the contract.
And who would those be?
I mean, that's our history. We've gone against what's been put out there and said we need to do this. We've had so many people in this world, especially our community, where we've said, "I'm not going along with that." But I don't have to just suck up and go along and be a part. And then I'm going to speak on it. If there was a clause that she had an issue with, why not speak up about it when that clause is brought to her attention?
So you all, what I'm hearing you say, and particularly since you brought it up as Black people, you do not, in what you're saying, you do not believe in civil disobedience, because that's exactly what civil disobedience is. It's a matter of saying there's a law, de jure, on the books, and the way that I'm going to get that law overturned is to challenge that law by civil disobedience. Because any law that's an unjust law, which this is definitely any contract that's an unjust contract, it requires some level of civil disobedience. And to me, that's what she was employing here. So are you telling me you do not believe in the methodology of civil disobedience?
I will say I believe in civil disobedience, but I don't feel like I need to go along to enforce that. And I feel she signed a contract that she was okay with until it was against what she stood for.
But if she didn't sign the contract, how was she going to oppose it if she didn't sign it?
Because she read the contract before she was able to sign it. Her and her attorney read that contract and said, "This is what the laws are. This is what this contract says. This is what the clauses are." And her and her attorney, I'm assuming, read over that, and she knew what was in it.
And they probably said, "And this is a case that's going to overturn it. And this is a case that's going to overturn it if you're willing to stand, if you're willing to fight."
Along with it.
So she went into this knowing that she was going to challenge and carry on.
I don't know.
Clause.
I don't know if she did or not. Now, BTD mom, you're right. She was running at 17. Most people rely on legal advice about signing contracts. And so I hear you. I hear what you're saying. At the end of the day, I will say, and particularly for people of color, we sign so many contracts with legal advice that still sells us down the river, because at the end of the day, they're not necessarily in our corner. They're after that money. And particularly when you talk about athletes that may have come from a very challenged background, that may have come from a very meager money type of background. And at the end of the day, these kids just want to perform in their sport. So they're not trying to sit down and have all of these ideas and discussions about whether or not, yes, I had an attorney, but how many times have we seen attorneys take these kids to the cleaners? Mm-hmm. She's only 17, and that sounds like, okay, she's a legal adult. She's still a kid. So at the end of the day, I'm looking at grown folks that with an attorney don't necessarily know how to make the right choice and the right decision. If an attorney is steering them in a certain direction and it still may not be in their best interest, and grown folks can't figure that out. How are 17 and teenage kids or early young adult age kids supposed to be able to wade through? No, clueless. Even with the advice of an attorney. But at the end of the day, she knew she wanted a baby. Now, where she decided and when she decided she wanted to have a baby, she may have been like, I don't plan to have a baby all my life. And then all of a sudden she found Mr. Right and she knew she was in love and they want to have a baby. She should be able to have a baby.
And she can, but she's in default on her contract she signed. Where does accountability come in at this?
Accountability. The accountability we need is get rid of this daggone contract. The contract is.
This woman is deep into her 20s. Accountability comes in at some point. Where do we stop saying, oh, because they were young and they didn't know and this and that? She signed a contract. I can't go to my landlord and say, oh, I signed this lease, but I changed my mind on this, that, and the other, and I should be able to fight against that.
But I know people have done just that and then taken those contracts to court and won because the contract was jacked from the beginning. How else are you going to get that change? If everybody just says, oh, I'm not going to sign that contract, I'm going to ease on down the road, that landlord will continue to write jack contracts. This Nike will continue to write jack contracts. All of these other athletic companies will continue to write jack contracts until somebody challenges them on their face, which is civil disobedience.
But is it not easier to challenge a contract without going into the contract? It's hard. I feel it's harder to say there's this clause in this contract where they're saying, as long as you're representing me, I can't have a child because they're not trying to represent a pregnant woman. But I've also collected your money for this whole time.
Did Rosa Parks need to sit down on the bus?
Did she?
Yes.
And she did it, and we appreciated that. But
where would we have gotten if she said, oh, they told me it's a law, because there were Jim Crow laws. It was a law. It's a law. I can't sit my tail on that bus unless I go to the back of the bus. Ooh, yes. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir, massa. No, sir, massa. I'm going to take my tail to the back of the bus because the back of the bus is where my butt goes. And if I don't want to go to the back of the bus, I should just walk.
And Rosa Parks, because there were laws, Rosa Parks sat down where she wanted to sit, and she was ready to go for that fight, and that made change. Rosa Parks didn't go and sit in the back of the bus and argue with these people. She sat where she wanted to sit because she knew the laws were wrong. If this woman read a contract and she disagreed something in that contract, she signed that contract.
And that contract is what makes it law. So let's deal with the issue of it being law. And the issue is an unjust law requires civil disobedience. An unjust law, because that's all that contract is representing is law. So there's no difference between the unjust law of a contract that there's a civil disobedience to and the unjust law of civil rights that there's an unjust level to. Somebody has to be bold enough to finally say, in a matter of civil disobedience, I'm going to challenge you on the face of this law because it's wrong. There's no point in saying it's wrong and then everybody continuing to act like it's right just because it's a contract.
I feel it would be a bigger fight on her end because the law is wrong. Nobody should be able to tell a woman when she can have a child, regardless of what your profession is and what you do. But in reviewing that contract, putting up that fight, I'm not signing this contract because I don't agree with these terms.
So Rosa shouldn't have got on the bus and sat down. In theory of what you're saying, Rosa should not have gotten on the bus and sat down.
The difference is, if Rosa would have got on the bus and sat in the back and argued, that was Rosa signing along with that contract and saying, this is what they're telling me, I got to do this. But now I'm gonna fight against it.
But that's what you're saying she should have done. That's exactly what you're saying. You're saying Allison should have gone to the back of the bus and not signed the contract. No, I'm trying to, but let's make a parallel to this analogy that you're giving. You're basically saying Allison should have gone to the back of the bus and argued from the back of the bus or whatever that this is an unjust law, when in fact somebody needed to attack it on its face and defy that law. That's the only way the civil disobedience was going to be effective to change the law. Otherwise, Rosa didn't need to sit down Rosa didn't need to get on the bus. She didn't need to sit down or nothing.
And what I'm saying is actually totally different. What I'm saying is, if Rosa would have got on the bus and when they told her get in the back, and she went to the back, but then she argued from the back, that argument, it's a little iffy because you agreed with what we said. You went along, we told you sit in the back of the bus, and you went with it, but now you want to argue. What I'm saying is, what Rosa did was Rosa said, I'm not doing what you tell me to do. I'm going to sit where I want to sit on this bus. And she sat in the front of the bus. What I'm saying with this young lady is she signed a contract, regardless of 17, 18, whatever it was. She signed a contract and she went along until it was an issue for her. What I'm saying is what people need to do is before you sign that contract, make that noise that, hey, this shouldn't be in the clause. This shouldn't be a clause in this contract. If you want me to sign this contract, you need to change this because I can do what I want to do with my body. That's what Rosa did. Rosa, she sat on the front of the bus. She went against what people told her to do. She didn't sign up for anything, and she did her own thing. And I'm saying you have a little more fight in your fight when you go against what people have made you sign up for. So you signed this contract for years, regardless of what your age is. You planned a pregnancy. You had the baby. They tell you now you're against what their contract was, and now there's an issue. I'm sure they didn't just bring in this clause because then we have to look at, did you re-sign a contract? Did you sign it again?
Let me reiterate the point that when it went to court, she won because it's wrong.
And it's wrong.
When she went to court, she won because it's wrong. So y'all done absolutely threw mama from the train because I can't buy what y'all sell. When they went to court, which is exactly the outcome that she was looking for, let's go to court and let the justice system decide, is this right or is this wrong? And when they took it to court, it was determined this is wrong because Ray Charles could see that.
And I don't think any of us disagree with that. That is not wrong.
But the method to get it changed is that she should have just gone along to get along or don't sign the contract.
But the question is, when was it wrong for her?
It's been wrong for women for years. Do you know the number of women that have probably signed that NDA and everything in them was against it, but the oppression of patriarchy made them sign? If you want to participate, you got to sign this paper. And see, that's where, folks ain't going to deal with that. The far-reaching depths of patriarchy are equivalent to the far-reaching depths of racism and white supremacy. But nobody wants to deal with that. Because at the end of the day, the only reason why it's able to go and had the tentacles as long and deep as it did was because it's a male-dominated system, and they were the one that was writing the contracts and saying what was okay and what was not okay about a woman's body. Jonna, I'm listening to you, dear. I can't hear nobody praying.
I'm listening too.
I'm sorry, but I need more details about this contract. I just do. I need more details about this contract. I need more details about when she signed it and when she planned the pregnancy. I need more details on that. I agree. The clause is awful and it is wrong. Absolutely. But signing a contract with Nike is not a life essential. You do not have to do it. So if you're going to plan a family, that has to be taken into consideration.
So here we go. I'm going to read and again, this is New York Times. I decided to go ahead and start my family in 2018, knowing that the pregnancy was considered a quote unquote kiss of death in my industry, as the runner Phoebe Wright has called it in the Times. It was a terrifying time for me because I was negotiating a renewal with my Nike contract, which had ended in 2017. So we got negotiation period going on. And so I felt the pressure to return to form as soon as possible after the birth of my daughter. And I might add, she ran some of her fastest races after she had the baby, but we ain't even gonna talk about that. So the question begs, is maternity leave for athletes correct or incorrect? And then just do it. So I mean, at the end of the day, for us to say, in my opinion, wherever and however you want to package it up, it basically boils down to the issue: is maternity leave okay? And basically, the way the system is set up and these contracts are written, there is no maternity leave. Either you're not going to get paid or we're going to severely cut your pay, and you can look to see a decrease just because you're pregnant. And if y'all think that's okay on any level,
said it was okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
But one thing we have to acknowledge that you said in here, she was in renegotiation, so she was re-signing a contract that she had initially signed.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't an issue when she originally signed the contract?
I'm not even going there. I'm just saying at the end of the day.
Where's the accountability?
What do you mean where is the accountability to have a fair contract? That's the part y'all just
renegotiation. She was okay to re-sign this contract.
At the end of the day, when she decided she was ready to have a child, that's her right and that's her prerogative, and it should not be impacted because we do not. The fairness, and I think this is the issue that we've seen in women's sports from day one. Now, you have those that are willing to go along to get along, and that's fine and good. And this is the thing, and this is, I'm gonna tell you, because I am a person that I'm going to go out and I'm going to speak up and I'm going to say something. It burns my goat when I put my neck and my butt on the line to get fairness for everybody else, and everybody else sits back with their lips closed and says nothing. And I'm out here putting my butt on the line, my neck on the line, my name on the line, but you get all the benefits with your say nothing, do nothing self. That pisses me off. It really does. So at the end of the day, I'm like, this woman made a change for all the women in sports all the way across the field, but we're going to say that she signed a contract and she should do right by that. But look at all the people that are going to benefit from it, and some of the very people that would say she should have signed the contract after she stands up and makes the change in the law. Then everybody wants to benefit, and ain't nobody turning no money down, ain't nobody turning no contracts down, ain't nobody turning no maternity leave down, because you knew it was wrong from the beginning. Say something. That pisses me off. Say something. But you won't say nothing, but you'll take the benefit.
Well, I will say, I think it was great she said something, but I also feel the to be out there. We just can't go along to get along. We can't sign contracts just because it's going to get us out just get us out of whatever our situations are. We can't go along just to get along and then come back later and say, I disagree with this.
Okay.
We got to start from day one and say, hey, I don't agree with this.
And women, you don't think have been saying for decades, I don't agree with this? Are you kidding me? Do you really think women have not been saying?
I'm sure they have, and we see that in many, but I'm saying we cannot just go along just to get along.
But then men don't have that issue at all.
I disagree with that.
I'm saying as far as when you look, as far as sexism, they have the upper hand. So I can, as we said, I can spread peen and semen all over the countryside and nobody's going to say anything. And I could be doing all kinds of stuff that really are not conducive to good sportsmanship and or conduct, much less something as simple as having intimate relationships with the person I love and producing a life. I can do all of this damnable stuff out here. I can beat my wife. I can go upside my girlfriend's head. I can pull a gun on somebody, which is literally stuff that happens in the sports arena, and nothing happens to these men. But we would say she needs to consider the fact that she signed a contract to have a baby with her husband. That's some interesting stuff to me.
What is the reason they don't want a pregnancy? Not that it's just, what is the reason they don't want a pregnancy?
It's an old sexist issue of the fact that at the end of the day, besides image, and this is the other thing, I want to throw this in while we're on this point. I loved the fact that when she started her new company, and this is the thing I'm gonna say about her. She went out and started a brand new company, and they are doing phenomenally well. She went out and started a brand new company, both shoes and clothes. And in her advertisement, she uses her C-section and a picture of her C-section in the shot. Oh, I thought that was the ultimate. That was the ultimate. Take that, you patriarchal snobs. Here is the cut to show that I brought this life into this world. So at the end of the day, kiss my pinkest part and my C-section incision. I love it. It was just poetic justice. It was just poetic justice. And so at the end of the day, whatever sexist reason, whether we don't want the image of a pregnant woman, you have downtime for X amount of time, wherever you want. Let me put it like this. How many men have to go to the front of the church and repent and ask for forgiveness for getting somebody knocked up?
Yeah, that would be zero.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I don't care what kind of scenario you put to it. You have a scenario around this woman where you're going to give her less than and make her feel less than and pay her less than because of feminine issues that she has no control over after somebody done left their seed up in her. And so she's got to bear the brunt of all of the loss. She has to bear the brunt of, I can't sign a contract. She has to bear the brunt of all of these different elements, even as far as we don't want to see a pregnant woman. It just doesn't look appropriate and and God forbid that she not be married. All of these things that have been patriarchal issues down through the centuries is a bunch of bull. It really is.
I don't know. Don't. But luckily, she's out of it. She's been able to make change.
This is what I also want to applaud, because unlike all of our other, or many of our other athletes that do end up signing with, okay, Nike's out there. I love the idea that instead of having whatever name you want to attach to it to make however much amount of money on that pair of tennis shoes, sister said, I'm just going to start my own line and my own. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And I don't understand why more of us don't do it that have the money and the means to do it. So to me, this sister all the way around. This is a lion's move all the way around. This sister all the way around, right on down to the showing of her C-section scar. She's a lion. She's a lion.
This is like a puzzle with 1,000 pieces.
Right.
There's just so many different angles to come at this at. The fact that she started her own line, being the fastest woman, you can do that kind of stuff. And that is, I completely applaud her for that, and not basically, one up at Nike. I'm here for it. I'm here for it as a woman. I'm here for it as a Black woman. I'm here for it. So that particular piece of the puzzle, yay for her. Absolutely.
I feel you. Tyrone,
All I'm gonna say is I hope she learned to read her contracts before she signed them.
Are you implying that she didn't understand the contract when she read it?
You said she was 17 when she got the first one.
Okay,
so
but as you said, she was renegotiating a new contract, so she's not 17 no more.
Right, and she was in negotiation for a renewed contract.
Yes.
So my thing is,
when she decided she wanted to start a family, so she wasn't confused.
Right. So she honestly, she could have walked away from it. We can't go along just to go along. Was the clause right? Not at all. Should it have been in there? Not at all. Nobody should tell anybody what they should do with their body. But there, I mean.
And so she didn't walk away from it, and that's what turn this for everybody else. Is that what you're saying? Spirits about
yeah. Did she not resign? Was the court case a return, like a renewal of the contract for other people, and she walked away?
What she did was she exposed it and gave it the publicity because it was an NDA. Okay, so this is how so much of it is able to be gotten away with. When you sign those NDAs, you're not supposed to disclose any of that. So basically what she did was not only address the issue of this clause that is really pit, she also became a whistleblower on the NDA because it needed to be exposed.
But did she resign the contract?
I don't know if she did or not, because at the point in time that she exposed it for what it is, and they actually had a hearing in front of the House, and they took it to the legislator and had a commission to investigate it, and they found that it was definitely openly against women. And so at the point in time that she won in that arena, and Nike went ahead and changed their contract, and the other companies in the industry also changed their contracts, whether or not she actually signed it again the second time, or whether it was just a matter of her exposing it, that this is what they are making women sign. And women been signing this since the whole time of the U.S. sporting institution where women are concerned, and we've had enough of it. Whichever way you went, she basically put it in front of the people's understanding so that it was no longer hidden, even though it wasn't hidden to the athletes, to the female athletes, and probably the male athletes for that matter too. Once it was made known that this is what they are making women sign, and it was investigated, therein was the term.
So would it be better if a company like Nike, Adidas, K-Swiss, whoever, Fila, had in their contracts that if a female athlete decided to have a child, that they would end the contract and restart the contract if that athlete decided to come back to the sport?
Why does the contract have to be ended? And that's the whole element. Why are women being penalized?
Where can pay people that can't do the work? That would be no different than a male athlete who became a drunk.
Does your drunk? How you gonna having a baby and equate that to a drunk? Are you
at the end of the day, you can't do the work. No one's saying.
So you don't believe in maternity leave, because that's the issue.
I'm not saying that.
But that's the issue that the athletes are saying. They should be entitled to maternity leave. Oh my God. Okay. They should be entitled to maternity leave. What are you talking about? Quit the contract and then come back later.
So then I should be entitled to counseling leave. If I become a drunk and I got to step away from the job because my mental health is wrong, I should be entitled to counseling leave and mental health leave. So we need to put that into it as well. These athletes are being paid hundreds of millions of dollars.
It still doesn't mean they don't have mental health issues. So there are things in place, or should be things in place, to be able to allow for their mental health. I don't have a problem with that. And the fact that we don't have something is like acting like they're animals and we just herd them along so they can entertain us, and we could care less whether or not they're good or not.
So if an athlete has a child with their partner and they decide not to come back to the sport, do we still cover that, or do we end that contract then?
Do you all have maternity leave rules at your job?
Yes.
Okay, it's going to be the same thing. What are you asking me? It's the same thing. All we're asking for is maternity leave. That's all they're asking for. So the same way that your maternity leave operates on your job, all they're saying is, this is our job. Give us maternity leave just like every other woman gets on a job. This is our job.
Okay. Gotcha.
we went the long way around saying she wants some maternity leave.
Yeah, because you came across like they was in her contract because if she wanted maternity leave, we got that. It's fine. Every woman should get maternity leave.
But wait. So Nike has no
Lord.
clause for maternity leave.
Right,
So
you came across like they
issue-
were in her contract because she got pregnant.
The pregnancy clause. The pregnancy clause.
they don't want her to have a pregnancy at all.
There you go. There you
Okay.
go. It's not
But
about.
is that Nike saying they don't have maternity leave? Because Serena she's with Nike. I mean, she took months off for a child. They didn't end her contract.
At the end of the day, we don't know what the contract said. And at the end of the day, just like what's coming out here. No. This is what I'm talking. At the end of the day, basically what she was identifying is that these non-disclosure agreements in the contract prohibits them from telling that this is what they're signing in those contracts for the females.
Again, this is a tough one because without knowing a whole lot about the contract, because then, like I said, I look at a Azarenka, I look at a Serena who were signed to Nike. There was nothing that said you can't have a baby. Their contracts didn't end. These women had kids. They played while they were pregnant. That was part of their storyline. So
At the end of the day,
contract,
just like what Felix said, is that either the contracts were yielded null and void or the pay was significantly decreased. So I don't know what their contracts were, but this is a consistent behavior that they had to this extent. Nike didn't try to deny it.
That's not funny.
Nike didn't try to deny it. They just said we're guilty. And this is my thing. Why do you think they made it an NDA? The reason why they made it an NDA, because they knew it wasn't right. They knew it wasn't right. That's why they made it an NDA.
So the clause absolutely sucks. And while we're on the subject, maternity leave in general for women in America sucks.
and men.
So, you know.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh,
How
Jesus.
does maternity leave suck for men?
We're in this thing together.
Okay.
Yeah. We're in this thing together.
Now,
we were in the village together.
I hear you. And there's something down inside of me when I hear that.
Okay.
That's like racist folk that want to say reverse discrimination. Because what you're identifying is that there's already a system that's enacted to benefit men anyway. What we are working toward is bringing a level of equality and equity to the women who are already downtrodden and behind the 8 ball. So when I hear you say things like that, I'm going to be just really honest. When I hear you say things like that, that's the same thing as white people that want to get out and scream white lives matter. All lives matter. Blue lives matter.
We're talking about maternity leave, and
We're talking about women's issues and women's rights.
And I get that, but we were talking about maternity leave at that moment, and maternity leave for women in the United States could be a whole lot better, especially for African American women, because they're the quickest to have a baby and just have to get back out there. But there's a need for men to be able to have that leave as well, because together we develop that child, we grow that child. It's taxed on.
You trying to keep from laughing, ain't you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hold it right.
You're right, because women do it all on their own. You're right. I'm wrong.
Oh, Tyrone, you and this women and men thing.
I'm wrong, because women do it all on their own. I'm sorry. You're right. So
That's
women's
not
rights.
what I said.
That's not what I said either.
Women's rights. What we're missing?
Nobody said that. That's what you heard, because that's your slant. But that is not what I said. That's not what Jonna said. And at the end of the day, for every man that needs to call in and get some time off because he got up with the baby all night, because he got up and changed the diaper several times a night, because he got up and breastfed his tittyless, his milkless titties, because he did all of these different things. Now, I feel like if they want to call in tomorrow and take the day off, take the day off. But ain't no milk dripping out your titties.
Mm-mm.
And that by itself is a whole different dynamic.
Okay.
That ain't no male able to equate that to anything that they are doing with a baby. Ain't no milk dropping out your nipples. Mm-hmm. Your body is not going through mammary glands that have literally changed. And your body did not open up and put you at the point of death to push that baby out. Baby, that didn't happen to no man on this face of the earth.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, we support women. So we're talking about women.
And
rights.
we support men. And women support men. Now, the next time your booty hole opens up and a baby comes out, I'm going to ask for you to get some maternity leave.
But it's got to tear too, though.
It's got to tear, or else you got to cut it and give them the episiotomy.
You got to stitch it back up.
And your tailbone has to go back right. Now, when your body does all of that, then we can have a conversation.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Now, at the end of the day, Jonna, we gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna let you all say what you want to say, but what I just cannot on this podcast make it appear that women do not support men, because that is an absolute positive lie in the majority of time, particularly with Black women towards Black men. And the patriarchy that we experience in the system is still alive and well, very much so. Not just with Black men, and unfortunately, we see it with Black men towards Black women, which is most disheartening, but with society at large, because it's a patriarchal society. And with that being said, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let both of you have your last say. And you don't have to agree with me. That's my opinion. This is Yes You with Friends. I'm putting my opinion out here based on how I feel about it. I invite you to do the same. And at the end of the day, we still going to love each other. So we'll start with Tyrone. I'll let you start and then we'll close out with Jonna.
Well, I will say, we love our women, all women.
And we love our men.
That you do. We would not be here without you. You run this world. You are amazing.
Who runs the world? Who runs the world? I want. Who runs the world?
Women. And I'm not talking political. Our mothers, my mother, all of our mothers, ran this world for us. So I say, women run the world
in a system of patriarchy. In a system of patriarchy.
In a system, I'm talking for me as an individual. In my world, my mother ran the world. The system, the man, all that outside that, I'm saying for women run this world. At the end of the day, we have a female vice president. We're seeing change with women. We see women are amazing.
Amen.
Do they get their due? No, they don't.
Amen.
Do they, are things always right for them? No, it isn't. But I will say, when we see things really move in this world, there's a woman behind it. And there's so many strong women that I know who spark change. So I say women are amazing. we have to support our women, and we have to make them know and let them know that they are amazing and that they know their worth and their value. Because to me, I'm not saying the laws are right and the way things happen. I feel women run this world. I feel I am who I am today because I've had some strong women behind me. So
thank you for that.
Let's see change, and let's continue to fight for change, because women need the support, and they need the support of us to show them, not show them, but make sure that they know their worth and who they are.
Bless you. Teresa said, I totally agree. Thank you, sis. Thank you, Teresa. Go ahead, Jonna.
Well, so the Klaus is the pit, and it had to go when it did. Yay. Thank you, Allison. Hopefully that will spark some change, and the female athletes get the maternity leave that they deserve, and they can make more concrete decisions about their own bodies, as it should have been in the beginning. Maternity leave is a huge issue across the board. It really is. Women's stance in the workplace, especially mothers, is a huge issue across the board. That has affected my house tremendously. So I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about right here. As far as men bearing the brunt, nah, that's all I got to say on that. Just NaH with a period. No. In the words of a dear friend, I just can't buy what they're selling on that. I can't do it. So, we got to keep fighting.
Yes.
For equality. We got to keep, as I mentioned earlier, her own shoe and her own, that is phenomenal. And what a legacy to leave that little girl.
Yes.
What a legacy to leave her.
Yes.
To see her own mother break the barriers and do her own thing. We got to do more. We got to do more of that.
Yes.
Because whatever, Nike had in their contracts, and I'm glad that they've changed it, but they lost to Jim, apparently. So, kudos to her for that.
Yes, very much so. And thank you both, but thank you. Y'all know I get spirited. Y'all know that's just the way I am, and very passionate. But at the end of the day, I appreciate your input. I appreciate your perspectives, and what you bring to the table is very, very powerful. And thank you. I just want to say, for somebody that from her own mouth and her own testimony said that typically she's very shy, typically she's basically withdrawn and not a person to rock the boat. This was an issue that she felt strongly enough to rock the boat. And I'm grateful that she prevailed. I'm grateful that she came out with her own line of shoes. I will be buying a pair. I'm grateful that she came out with her own clothing line. And listen, she was Nike down up to this point. I'll be buying her clothes. And at the end of the day, I'm absolutely thrilled, tickled, and overjoyed that she showed that C-section scar to show exactly what she went through to bring a life into this world, in spite of the opposition that was unfairly wagered and leveraged against women, and that she's got that scar to remember for the rest of her life. The victory that she got over Nike, as well as the life that she brought into this world because she chose to. I think it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And that being said, I want to say thank you to all of our listening audience out there. You guys, and some of these comments over here, I'm cracking up. Stacy she said she want the men to gain some weight. Some of them do. She said gain some weight. That was in all of the dialogue that we were having back and forth about the fathers. And I love everybody's comment that I'm looking at.
For the men to say we want the ladies to lose some weight.
They've been saying that, and a whole bunch more.
But would it be rude? I'm just asking.
It is rude, but they've been saying that forever.
It's rude for us to say it, but we get the cracks when she says it.
Nobody said that, but men have been saying that forever.
I just want
And we can bring the other Olympic stars in for that. Men particularly.
I just want the playing field.
Have been going in about the other ladies' looks and all of that. They too masculine, they too cut, they too this, they too that. So, that's nothing new.
Okay. And body shaming, Tyrone, I agree. Mm-hmm. Body shaming on either side is a shame. But what I will say, even in what you're bringing to the fore, is that men have been doing this to women forever.
So you're saying women haven't been doing that to men forever?
Body shaming, no, not typically.
Oh, so they just started within the last 10 years?
I said not typically. I didn't say they haven't done it. I said it's not typical. Because at the end of the day, now see, you done went there. A knockdown, drag out, beautiful women will take a ugly man just to have a man any day. You shouldn't have went there.
Oh, God.
I'm telling the truth. So at the end of the day, you be like, oh my God, creature from the Black Lagoon or whatever. Folks come in looking like Who Shot John, and women will love them and be like, oh, that's my baby. Y'all remember that video I showed of the woman like, that's mine. That's mine.
He gonna take care of them.
Huh?
He bringing something to the table. He gonna take good care.
Oh, I agree. But the flip side of that coin is many times you can take men who will have a beauty and dog her, talk about her, and regardless to the body size, shape, or otherwise, women take a whole lot of flack. So we got to listen, I'm going to just call a spade because I'm talking about real stuff. This is real stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm going to agree with you. Body shaming. And this is something that I'm going to tell you what, even with myself, I have to catch myself in body shaming. So in any way, shape, or form, from any method or whatever form you want to package it in, it's still body shaming. And everybody needs to stop. But what I will acknowledge is that there is a tremendous amount that goes men toward women. And yes, there is some that goes toward men. But I think if we were to put some statistics out there, the statistics would be overwhelmingly male toward women. Okay. And we might just have to see if we can find a study somewhere.
But I'm glad you acknowledge that either way, it's wrong.
Either way. And so we all have to pay attention to our dastardly ways and straighten them up and fly right. I really do believe that. I'm not joking. I really do believe that. So you heard it here on Yes You with Friends. I want to thank Jonna. I want to thank Tyrone. I want to thank the Galactic Supervisor that's out there helping this stream to happen. I want to thank each of you because without you, we'd be sitting here talking to each other, which we don't mind doing that. We enjoy that as well. Stacy just took me out. These comments in chat. Oh Lord Jesus. Stacy, I'm gonna leave that one over there in chat. I'm not gonna repeat that one. I'm gonna leave that one over there in chat. But that was the cracks. You heard it here, or you read it here on Yes You with Friends. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. We appreciate you. We really, really do. God bless you, and we'll see you next go round. Peace for your journey. Thank you so much. Oh, Lord.